And it was able to just like, it's almost like clarity. Like you start to feel like, okay, I made these choices because of X, Y, Z. These were my choices, even though I was young. Yeah, I was, 17 when I met him. I was very young, very naive, but it's just, it brings so much clarity. So if I can encourage any, client out there, or maybe listeners out there, is that, if you're going through it and you're starting to like have all that anger and resentment, try your best to let it go, because that's not going to help you heal. And if your journey is to heal and find yourself, letting go of the anger is the biggest thing. And for me, and from what I see, is once they let go of the anger, it's like, dang, like I'm good. When I stopped being angry at my ex-husband, like I swear my healing went way faster.
Yeah. And healing looks different for every person.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes I know that you get stuck in a cycle because if you have smaller children, and I'm not saying that if the kids are grown or off to college, it's any easier, but with the smaller kids, it can be a lot harder too, because you're in, a custody battle. You may be in a custody battle, or now you have to decide, well, who gets the kids on these holidays and that, and it can be a never ending cycle. But you're right. If you start to do the inner healing, especially for yourself, then it helps your kids as well. Because sometimes that anger and, all of those emotions spill over into the kids, and now they have to struggle with those same issues. And remembering that even though it is a very hard time, it's not just about you or your spouse, but if you have those kids, it's about those kids too, and how they feel.
Point, because that's a really good point is, if you do have children in it, whether they're young, whether they're teenagers, they're going to go through their own grief. They're going to have to heal as well, because their reality just changed. And the thing that I see the hardest is that it's out of their control, right? It's the adults that are making these decisions. The children don't get to have a voice in it. So one thing that I see that hurts the children, hurts relationships between mom and children and dad and children, is when you're not giving them any voice in anything. So now they have to choose, because you're angry at your ex. And now you're like, well, your mom it's not her day. I don't care if you have this and this and this going on. It's my day. It's my time. And it's like, what about what your child wants?
Right.
And this is where I say, let go of the anger, because if you let go of the anger and focus on your child, to me, that's the number one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so I actually am doing this now because of my divorce. And Reagan was 3. And so girl, you were saying, and I know it was devastating, because there was such a lack of control, even when you're trying to do the right thing. And a lot of times you don't know what the right thing is. And especially if you've had, someone that wasn't really there, but then you feel like, and you're trying to navigate, and, doing this. I do a lot of research and all of it. I know you do a lot of reunification. We do family mediations and stuff. And so first thing I tell my parents or whoever it is do your research. Do your research. Understand the law. I said, there's no room for emotions in a court of law. I said, law is the law. Does family law belong in a court system? Not really, because it's all emotional. But, I had a wonderful attorney, and, he really walked me through it. But I let them come in, they give me the emotions, and we can talk them through. I said, because, you got to go in there and remember what it's about. I said, but even with that, I said, this is not your children's fault. And I said, it is not their place to carry, your burden. And I said, but you got to remember, they're also half of that person. So if you're speaking ill of your husband or your wife, your child's taking that on, because they are half of the husband or the wife.